Good morning, guys, and welcome to Namitsu-jima. It is me, Teddy Radko. Do you remember me? Tomorrow, on May 23rd, we will get the last announced update to City Skylines 1. The update will include hotels and retreats, DLC, and free content creator packs. I don't want to go into detail on everything included in these packs, but I want to try to focus on the hidden gems or the otherwise overlooked features of them. So let's jump into it. The recent updates to the game have gotten free content as well. Like, that's been a big feature, and so is this one. There will be trolley bus stuff, a lot of trolley bus stuff. I won't be showing any of that. Like, you could probably find 10 other YouTube videos about trolley buses because I know a lot of people are excited about them, but one particular feature that I'm excited about is the new industrial highway, 3-lane highway, which is which is free if you have Industries DLC already. It's these nice arch spans. I suppose you might know that I'm into bridges, so this was right. This was something that I suspect they made this just for me, but you have this nice new industrial highway, and the bridge mesh for this highway is this enormously long, also very cool, like a little bit rusty arch thing. Probably not rusty, it's probably just painted. Let's say it's painted. It looks very good, and here I tried to use it together with the two-lane industrial bridge to make like a high part for the ships passing underneath. I think it looks amazing, this new arch, and no doubt there's going to be plenty of really cool uses for it. Second feature, which is there's a lot of new parks, but in particular these two small parks are very cool, and I'll be short, I'll keep it brief, but basically the tiny park and the tiny playground, you will find them underneath the park tab, tourism and leisure, and they have this very cool feature that lets you change the variation, like you change the submesh. I believe it's called a submesh, but there's 4 different variations for each. One including a little pond and like basketball courts and like a community garden, like a gazebo, like really cool stuff. So don't place these down and forget about this. That's the main takeaway here. Okay, and the next point, I'll try to keep this video extremely short for you guys, so you don't have to, spend half a day figuring out what I'm trying to say. But the next point is props. There's a lot of new props. There's a lot of new props from the content creator packs. There's some new with the content, the DLC proper, like these seats, these tables and stuff like that. And these are mainly the props to the left here from the Japanese, what's it called? Railroads in Japan, Railroads of Japan content creator pack by lots of rail stuff, really cool stuff, especially if you're doing a Japanese city. This is technically a Japanese city, this map I'm on, so it kind of fits pretty good. You have this nice restroom. I highlighted with move it. Here. Pretty useful. You have these nice decals as well. We're getting spoiled with the decals, by the way. There's almost too many of them now, but like the rounded thing, you could probably make some interesting patterns with that. Some benches and even a tree built into a prop. Like, I think that's one of the first prop trees we get, and some railroad signals, some statues of looks like an anchor, but actually it's a rail. Oh, it's a rail track in profile. That's cool. But these props here are, do you remember African Miniature Content Pack? The last round of updates. It had 2 props at that point, like the wicker chair and this table here. with the parasol. Now this pack includes at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more props which have been released, including like carpets, a table, and a bench, and some pottery, which is really interesting. Like, it's really cool stuff. And that leads me into the next point. African miniature wasn't completely finished, I believe, with the last update. So if you have African miniature, you'll now be getting a few more buildings, and some buildings would have been changed. So for example, some buildings that were monuments are now unique buildings. Some buildings that were growables are now also unique buildings. But there's also just some new buildings, like for example this guy here. Silver Tower. There was a gold tower and now there's a silver tower. Very, very contemporary architecture, let's say. Interesting building. It looks like it's a parking garage, like in the base. There's also this building, which we have seen before, but it was a growable before. It was a little bit weird growable. I don't think it worked as intended initially, but now it's a unique building and it works to place, and it probably fits better as a unique building. It's a very unique building. So that's nice. And this guy here as well. Nice, sort of, I guess it's a nice hotel looking building as well. Might mistake it as part of the hotel pack, but it is. Don't tell me it is and I messed something up. No, it's supposed to be here, yeah. Luxury hotel number 1 and luxury hotel number 2. Okay, yeah. It's funny. And yeah, there's a few more, like the monument of fossil heroes and unification monument. Now these, I do believe these used to be monuments, but now they're unique buildings. So those are the two. And I could have missed a lot of things here, but the point is that African miniature is now a little bit beefed up and different. And that goes with growables as well. I won't try to show that, but there's a lot of new growables that weren't there as well, and like they're set up a bit differently, and they look better as well. There's more detail to them. A lot of these nice props are now included in the growables. So African miniature gotten boosted. That's great stuff. And now for the final point, and also most important point, and the whole reason I wanted to make this video. Then I just made up other points along the way because yeah, I figured out there's actually more exciting stuff. It's actually, let's not bother with that. Oh yeah, oh sorry, here is another African miniature building. Looks like some kind of symbol. I don't really know, but it's very cool. Very interesting looking building. Probably do some very probably fit in a university campus or something like that, like a synchrotron radiation facility or something. It kind of looks like that, actually. Okay, sorry, last point about that. Yes, the biggest reason why this pack is or this update is great is because of a new thing. It is the boats. Okay, let's first talk about boats in City Skylines, or like City Skylines Vanilla. Here is, you click on this building or this boat here that's floating around. It says building title seabed mining vessel sub, and it's like, it doesn't make any sense. And also, you might recognize this from Industries DLC, and that it's a part of the building, like the part that actually mines the seabed. But now we've seemed to have placed it just here on the key like that, and that's not an accident. And here you can see another floating boat, Chukaboa Maritime Museum. Shout out to Chukaboa. It has a floating boat as part of it. Like, all these floating boats are sub-buildings, and to be able to float and be part of buildings like that. And I think at some point the developers of the game realized this has good this has potential to be like a really nice extra thing you can use. So if we just have the mod of Find It, this is the only mod we really need for this. We can go into the show extra filters panel, And where it says asset creator here, you scroll to Subbuilding. This is a trick Leader of Monkeys taught me a long time ago, but now we can see all these different sub-buildings that are part of buildings. And if we search for boat, now have new boats. These boats have been sort of are in the game because of a I believe they're a part of a building of the hotels and resorts DLC. So you will need that DLC for these boats, but honestly, like if it were like this, these boats would have been enough for me to just get it. I would have never used any of the hotels, even if I'd never used any of the hotels, I would just get it for these boats, to be honest. This is something I've been struggling with for a long time, and like just getting something to fill this function. But look, now I can finally populate these marina keys, which I legit built way before I ever thought or ever knew about boats being a thing in this update, and just fits so perfectly. You can create your own populated marina, I suppose. You can populate your marinas finally. And this, yeah, I'm a nerd. Okay, it's fine. I get way too excited about stuff like this, but I don't know. I feel like it's a very nice touch, and you can see like it's going to look really interesting. You should probably not overdo it though. I don't know how performance heavy these are. It's quite possible they could be very performance heavy if you place too many of them. It's not the intended way of doing things, but I still think they have they had this idea like when they made these, that yeah, somebody's gonna know that you can use these as sub-buildings, and you know, be a nice touch. Looks really good. Like just from this level of zoom, it's like instantly the most realistic part of the whole city, I think. Yeah, and as a sort of ending note of that, like I'm gonna just summarize. These are all, I believe these are all of the floating buildings that I know of so far, like that are of a similar sort. Like there's a floating cafe, there's a museum ship we saw earlier, there's this sea life, park life, sea life whale watching boat. There's the seabed mining vessel, there's the offshore drilling rig, there's this ocean thermal converter. It's some kind of power station. There's floating ring thing that's actually pretty cool. And these new boats, the catamaran, a smaller, I don't know, none of these are really small boats, but I think they're pretty much perfect for City Skylines. They're all exactly what I would have wanted. Oh, and I didn't show this one. This is some kind of cruise ship. A little bit of a wonky cruise ship, especially with the props on the deck. But I mean, it's fine. We can find a way to use it. Absolutely. Teppo 2. Okay. Called Teppo 2. There's also, I don't know if these are floating actually though. They might not. Oh, these are not floating. But these are also sub-buildings from the hotels and resorts, hotels and resorts pack that you can probably use very nicely together with your boats. For example, like populate these marinas here. It's this marina, something like that. I don't know. You get the point. That's all I wanted to show today, really. I mean, I can quickly show like. I also did upgrade the industry area here to have the industrial evolution pack, and just basically switch the district style. Industrial evolution, and I think it looks really good. It's a very generic looking pack that could work in almost any situation, and like for the first time in a long time, I think it's going to be really fun to zone industry because of this pack. This pack is pretty great. It's probably my favorite of the content creator packs that are released now. It's by Evania, and of course she made the European Suburbia pack, which is maybe the best one of all time. Many of them are really good. Let's not say all, but many of them are really good, and I think this one is a good choice. Also used the train station from the Japanese pack because it's one of the train stations. There's so many train stations. Of course, this is a Japanese city. It would feel wrong not to try to use it. I think this pack is also good. It's much more specific if you want to build Japanese cities. This pack is like kind of must-have, where it's more of a it makes more sense. But if you're not building Japanese cities, it's going to be a little bit trickier to use it. Maybe it's less generic, let's say, but still very good. I didn't use the Prosper Brooklyn and Queens pack yet because I think it wouldn't fit in this island, but that's also a really nice pack, and I'm sure like there's going to be plenty of creators showcasing these things. You'll be able to find somebody showing the stuff you want. I mainly just wanted to make this video to show what I think is the best stuff with this new update in general. Just ramble on a bit, and I think I didn't forget anything. I said all I wanted to say, and yeah, that's about it. I suppose I'll see you next time, or next place, wherever that may be. Bye, guys. If you want to support me more, I now have a Patreon page. And this is also how I share save game access, so be sure to check that out if this is something you are interested in. Oh, and there's also a pie van now, by the way.